environmental move made today aimed at improving our country's drinking water quality.
The Environmental Protection Agency announced new federal limits on the amount of forever chemicals like PFAS. Utilities will have to cut the levels in the water they supply within the next 5 years to better protect families all across the country. WECT's Delaney Tarpley heard from an activist who has fought for this kind of action for years. Now, Delaney, what's her reaction to today's news?
John, she says this needed to happen for a long time, specifically here. North Carolina has the third highest rate of PFAS in drinking water nationwide. While the new regulations mark progress, she says there's still work to be done. History made Wednesday in the fight against contaminated drinking water.
The Environmental Protection Agency is announcing the first national drinking water standard for PFAS, which will protect 100 million people from PFAS exposure.
The announcement happened not far from the Chemours Company's Fayetteville Works plant, which contaminated the area's drinking water supply by dumping forever chemicals like PFAS into the Cape Fear River. State and federal leaders said utilities must meet the new contamination levels within 5 years.
These new standards will help give people the confidence they deserve when they turn on the tap.
PFAS and other forever chemicals don't break down for hundreds or thousands of years. Dana Sargent of Cape Fear River Watch says she's heard countless examples of how they've impacted North Carolinians' health.
There are a ton of stories in this community of people with diseases that have been directly linked to PFAS, thyroid disorders, kidney and testicular cancers, things that you wouldn't expect in the ages of people, and then it's generational.
Sargent calls the tougher standards a step in the right direction. She says it should put more emphasis on holding the producers of forever chemicals, like Chemours, DuPont, and 3M, accountable, not just suppliers.
It's our pocketbooks and it's our health that have been burdened by these companies that continue to bank off of this stuff.
Still, she says it's a move for the better, bringing everyone closer to having access to water they won't have to worry about.
Everyone should be able to turn on the tap and know that the glass of water they fill is safe to drink and free of pollutants that harm people's health and well-being.
I talked with 3 area utilities to see if they currently comply with these new standards. A spokesman for Cape Fear Public Utility Authority tells me all of their systems comply. A rep from H2Go in Brunswick County says they don't source their water from the Cape Fear River, so it's free of any PFAS contaminants. And John, Brunswick County Public Utility told me they aren't compliant yet, but they should be soon. They're building a filtration system right now that should be completed by the end of this year.
All right, Delaney, appreciate the update tonight. Thanks.